My name is Jordan. I'm 21 years old and I live in Florida. I have a sincere passion for singing, well, performing really. I just love expressing myself in a way that can make other people feel happy too. But in the business, I often hear people say that sometimes they just want to pull their hair out. And I've been pulling my hair out since I was old enough to even grow hair. I suffer from a disorder called Trichotillomania. But to those like me who go through body-focused repetitive behavior every single day of their lives, we kind of just call it hell. I mainly pull from my eyebrows and from the top of my head, but I've always done it. From my parents finding wads of hair in my diapers to me living in my own apartment and still picking up hair from the carpet. And it has caused me to feel the absolute and total worst about myself. It's ruined friendships, it's ruined relationships, and it's even been an issue with family members. I got picked on a lot in school because kids are mean. And it was always hard to focus because the minute I became too deep in thought, or I started to daydream, or I was reading and I would space out, or I would black out, and suddenly hair would be on my desk. Hair would be on the floor, hair would be on my clothes, hair would be everywhere and anywhere besides where it belonged. See, trichotillomania isn't the same for everyone, but we're all searching for this one little thing, this teeny tiny gummy white root seed. You could pull and search for seconds or even hours until you find that. Just pop it from your head and in your mouth, and then some people discard the hairs onto the floor, but I eat mine completely. So I'll pull and pull and pull, searching for the root, for 50 roots, for 150, 500. Who knows? I lose count. I'll do it when I'm bored, when I'm sad, when I'm hungry, when I'm angry, when I'm driving, or when I'm reading, even watching a movie, even when I'm on stage. And the episodes are never truly over. I had bald patches, and they got so bad that in high school I had to wear wigs because I felt so awful. And kids made just as much as fun of me. I didn't want to be in a relationship or have friends or anything of the sort because why bother? I'm just hiding this big giant secret. Florida is obviously extremely hot and wigs are no better. And I couldn't do the things that normal kids do, go out with their friends or swim with my little sister in the pool, because even the slightest breeze would just make me hold on to my head and fear, just anxiety and sadness and shame and humility, jerking my head down, afraid that the hairband that was keeping it all together would fall. I missed that on so much because I was just hiding in my room all the time. I don't wear wigs anymore, but I still feel the same amount of shame. I still feel the same amount of hurt. Like I will always have something to hide if I ever make the slightest connection with someone. Because to everybody else, I'm just this freak. My scalp is always sore. I have dozens of sores that I pick at if I can't find hair quick enough. And it's absolute misery. Doing something out of your control, just watching all these things fall apart in front of you, is awful, and I just want to feel beautiful. And there are so many times in the day that I don't. I wake up and there are strands all over my pillow, all over my sheets, all over my floor. I take a shower and I'm afraid to even comb through my hair with my hand because when I get to the end, I know that in the palm of my hand or webbed in between my fingers, there's hair. And all I can do is just choke back tears because I feel like every single time I try to touch the top of my head, I lose even more of the little that I have. Looking in the mirror is like looking at a battleground, and there are bodies all over the floor and all over the sink and all over my towel and all over the comb that I don't even use anymore because that's just more hair I have to see not attached where it's supposed to be. Getting ready is a nightmare. I spend an hour on my hair alone just to part it the right way, just to make sure that all my bald spots are covered, soaking every single strand in product, so I know for a fact that if I move my head, my hair does not move with it. Because then you can see the bald spots, and don't get me started on those. When I'm done with my hair, I spend 2 seconds on my eyeliner and my mascara, and then it's back to making sure that my hair will not move. Putting on clothes, checking my hair, adjusting it perfectly, because this is the last time I'm ever going to look in a piece of reflected glass for the rest of the day, for fear of what I may see later on, that there might be the slightest indication of frizz and I'll just want to go home and cry. Walk through the house, the bottoms of my feet picking strands from the living room, from the kitchen. I can't even pet my cat without a piece of hair clinging to her fur. Walking outside to avoid eye contact. Open my car where there is so much hair all over the seat and the floor and the cup holder and the shifter and the linings in the windows and even the roof. Doing errands as quickly as possible because I don't want to be seen, I don't want to be judged, and if I have a conversation with a beautiful girl, it is probably going to make me wonder why I even bothered to get out of bed to begin with. Go to work and listen to the same lecture I always have to have with my manager, constantly apologizing that even though I wear 2, sometimes 3 hairnets and a hat on my head, somehow they still find my hair on the floor, on the tables, on the cabinets, on the walls, or elsewhere, and I don't even want to be there anymore because I don't even know when I do it half the time, and I am just so sick of being sorry and having nothing other to say than, I promise I'll try harder. But I'm trying so hard already that I feel like I'm going to have an anxiety attack every time I make that drive to my job because everyone is getting almost as sick of it as I am. Yeah, I'll hang out with friends, but only if they swear to not take any pictures, because the last thing I need is to scroll through social media and see all of my friends analyzing every single aspect of what I look like, and God forbid they find that one specific flaw or ask if I got my hair cut or if I'm thinning it or if I'm planning on growing it out. I've been trying to grow it out for 21 years, and all I have to show for it are these uneven strands that droop like sad or dying flowers. There's always that one person that goes, why don't you just stop? Or, ooh, that's disgusting. How could you do that to yourself? Doesn't it hurt? Why won't it stop? You should probably stop. I bet there's a hairball in your stomach. Why can't you just stop? Sometimes my boss makes me want to pull the hair out, so I know exactly how you feel. Just keep your hands away from your head. Busy yourself. Stop pulling. Why is there hair everywhere? Why is there hair all over your floor, all over the bed, the couch, your clothes, my clothes? You shed worse than a cat. Why don't you just stop? Every time you feel like it, just eat something. Go exercise. Draw, even though you don't have any artistic ability. Write. Play with baby toys. Play with cat toys. Sing. Dance. Do homeworks. Stop pulling. Why is it so hard? There's so much blood on your hands. Don't you feel it? Don't you want nice hair like so-and-so? Don't you want to style it like this way or that way? But you have bald spots. Get a wig. Aren't they expensive? Well, it costs to look pretty. Is that weave in your hair? Do you have cancer? You don't look sick. Your eyebrows aren't even. I can see your tracks. Are you going to try and eat my hair? Why won't you just... stop? And for us, we have to catch ourselves from screaming. Because if it were that easy, it would already be done. I would trade my soul any day to not live like this. You asking that question is like someone asking you, why don't you just stop breathing? Or tensing your muscles when you're afraid, or grinding your teeth sometimes when you chew. Things you can't control and you don't know you're doing them until it's too late. But this story is not just mine. I've cried so many nights going on websites or blogs and finding these girls, these young, these beautiful girls, are so defeated and they feel so alone and they feel like they're this freak show because they can't stop pulling their hair out. Asking themselves, how can hair do this to us? How can our life revolve around strands thinner than just a fingernail? As if it were a narcotic. Feeling shame and embarrassment, stress and anxiety to the point that the very thought of going to school makes these girls physically ill. These girls are sobbing that they're being picked on or that they don't even feel like they belong to the family they're in. And no one understands because no one can relate, and for the love of God, no one even knows what Trichotillomania even is. I'll type it in my phone and it'll go to correct it, but there's no replacement word and it just knows that it's wrong. So that's why I made this video. The first week of every October, every single year, is Body Focused Repetitive Behavior Awareness Week. This includes things like skin picking, like hair pulling. There's a whole list of behaviors that fall underneath. To you, may they sound weird or odd or different or freaky, but to us, it's our entire world, and we're not being heard. We're not being taken seriously. And most of the time, no one even knows what we're talking about. I need you to acknowledge the word. I need you to understand, for the sake of these girls and boys as well, who are spending their nights laying in their beds crying and screaming at themselves because they feel like monsters. Because we feel like monsters. What's worse is lacking the kinds of support that are just so incredibly crucial, so incredibly important. Some people tell my mom, oh, well, I don't know what I would do if it were my daughter. But my mom didn't know either. We would battle every day, tooth and nail. Our relationship almost as frail as the strands that would lay in piles across the floor. She would fight for me to stop, and I would fight for her to understand. It took therapy, it took doctors, it took her taking the time out of her day to research and to understand and to listen to the crying out of so many other people out there. And she became a warrior in this race. Just like that, you guys can too. If we built up our army and made warriors of these amazing people who feel so helpless, and everyone who surrounds them, with knowledge, with understanding, if we donated to charities for research, so maybe one day we won't have to find strand and root to win this war. Charities who provide counseling and workshops and centers so those who suffer can know that we aren't alone, and be shown that we all have a fighting chance. But there are people standing for us. There are people standing with us. So I'm challenging you. Spread this like the plague. Show your friends and your families. If every individual person sent this video to just 5 people, or the link to tlc.org in case if you just hate my face. Like, you guys, you can make a difference. You can help change so many lives. And if you personally know someone who's affected by any body-focused repetitive behavior, be loving, be kind, be supportive. Because honestly, having emotional support from the people we care about and the people we trust just mean the entire universe to us. I challenge you to read up on it, educate people around you so we can spread awareness, social media outreach, community outreach, fundraisers. What may seem like a small effort on your part is actually the foundation for the bridge we're all building together to hopefully one day end the stigma and get a cure. And to those who are suffering from any form of body-focused repetitive behavior, please don't ever feel like you're alone. Feeling alienated from society or feeling like you can't have simple relationships with people is just... it's the worst. The lack of self-esteem, all of those feelings. But there are people who are just like you, just like me, who feel the things that we do. In particular, Trichotillomania, the TLC website is filled with so many people and so much information. You are so far from alone. And we're all here for each other. So be strong. You got this. Things may be tough right now and things suck and it's awful. But one day they won't be. Spread this around, get things known, and just know that you're not alone and you are loved. My name is Jordan, and this is me.